Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I'm here to review WCW March 1992. It's the 1991 year in review. So let's open up the magazine and start reviewing. So, of course, the table of contents, the editor's note, for Cactus Jack, who won Most Hated Wrestler of the Year for WCW. And this magazine, the people that made this magazine made Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So, yeah, of course, they got Pro Wrestling Illustrated advertisement in here. Wrap up, a look at the most recent happenings in and around World Championship Wrestling. So of course they talk about the return of Ricky Steamboat and Sting's feud with Rick Rude and Terrence Taylor leaving the York Foundation to be by himself. Fan Jam. Fans write the editor of the magazine. Front row, ringside. Pictures of PN News doing press for their tour, for WCW's tour in Europe. Have you heard top 10 things, the top hot topics that are keeping WCW fans talking this month? The debut of the Dangerous Alliance, the return of Ricky Steamboat, the Young Pistols' new attitude, Scott Steiner's return, the debut of the light heavyweight division, Sting, Johnny B. Bad, Arachnaman, the Van Hammer's fans called the Hammerheads, and the debut of Marcus Alexander Bagwell. They got who am I? And you're supposed to, by reading the questions, you're supposed to guess who it is. By kind of looking at the outline, you can kind of tell it's Arn Anderson. So from ringside, it talks about more from talk about Vader's mask. Talks about the debut of Ricky Steamboat and Rick Rude. Superstar Stat Pack talks about Van Hammer. Talks about all his height, weight, years pro, birth date, stuff like that. Since you asked, where somebody asked Hardy Race the question. They talk about how Dusty Rhodes was in the movie The American Dream on screen. American Dream Dusty Rhodes stars in the upcoming film Paradise Park, the story of a day in the life of a Appalachian trailer park after a resident announces that she had a vision of God will visit and grant each person a wish. So this came out January. The film is slated for a January 24th regional release in Charlottesville, West Virginia, and a national release date to be announced later. So the Paradise Park, I never heard of this, but I would like to see Dusty Rhodes, see what the role Dusty played. He played a sheriff. So it would be interesting to actually see that. It's kind of amazing Dusty didn't get more movie offers. Yeah, cause everybody say he's a charismatic guy, so it'd be interesting to see him get more movie roles. They have actual pen pals in here. People with that talks about their favorite wrestlers and their age, and I guess they want other people to write to them and talk about wrestling. So Missy's views. This is kind of like, I guess, one of those Larry King columns where she just says a bunch of random stuff. Now I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Jim Ross actually wrote this for her. I don't know if that's true, but I think either she said it or I thought I heard him say it. that he was the one that actually wrote this column for Missy. And Gordon Soley, he talks about the return of Ricky Steamboat and talks about a certain match he had against Harley Race in 1978. Jim Ross has the Ross Report, and it's actually kind of like the Missy Hyatt column because it's just a bunch of random ramblings, but they're not as stupid, as the Missy. They're not as bimbo-ish as the typical Missy Hyatt character is. And Tony Schiavone talks about Sting. He talks about the fans of Sting and how they're so loyal to him. Hear Me Out. And this is actually a column where Bobby Eaton talks. And Stacey said that he's usually a quiet guy, but he had to respond to everybody that was questioning him since he joined the Dangerous Alliance. So it's a rare glimpse of reading Bobby Eaton saying stuff. Championship Challenge, where there's the crossword puzzle. And I did this, and I think I got them all right. I think. And they got a reader survey. What kind of people read WCW magazine? Spotlight on Dustin Rhodes and Ricky Steamboat versus Arn Anderson and Darius Bisco from the Clash of Champions. This was in November of '91. This was the very first Clash of Champions that I ever saw. And it was a great match, man. Larry Zbyszko, and I did not like Larry Zbyszko, but him and Arn Anderson was a great team. The Enforcers are actually a pretty underrated tag team. When they talk about Arn Anderson, he has so many tag team partners. They don't bring up his tag team partnership with Larry Zbyszko, but it was a pretty good tag team. And they take on Ricky Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes, and Ricky Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes beat them for the World Tag Team titles. Interview with the Young Pistols who just turned bad guys. They used to be the Southern Boys, but then they changed them. They used to be Southern Boys from the South, and they changed their name to the Young Pistols from Wyoming. (1991) year in review. They talk about the champions at the start of the year. They talk about Lex Luger's rise to championship fame, starting out as the U.S. champion, then winning the world championship, and his feud with Ron Simmons. They talk about all the newcomers that came to WCW in '91. Johnny B. Bad, Diamond Stud, Van Hammer, Oz, Arachnaman, the Patriots, the Yellow Dog. They talk about the Freebirds. And it's kind of funny because they got a picture of Bad Street right here, and they got a picture of Arachnaman right here, and they were both Brad Armstrong. So it's a shame Brad Armstrong couldn't get over in WCW as just being Brad Armstrong. They talk about the Super Raw match between Sting and Lex Luger versus Steiners, which was a great match. And talk about the formation of the enforcers of Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko. Talk about Bill Kazmaier, the WCW Super Show in Japan, Lawrence Taylor, and Paul Heyman, Paulie Dangerously. Rick Rude returning to WCW. The debut of Stunning Steve Austin. The York Foundation trying to sign Dustin Rhodes. And Tom Z-Man and Diamond Stud in some tuxedo matches. Now, this is the WCW Magazine 1991 Reader Awards. So, the Rookie of the Year, PN News, 1991 Rookie of the Year, PN News. The most popular wrestler of the year is Sting. That makes sense. The most hated wrestler of the year is Cactus Jack. Tag Team of the Year, the Steiner Brothers. And the Wrestler of the Year is Lex Luger. They have predictions for 1992, just like in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Year in Review. They have all the predictions. That's something they should bring back for the newest issues of the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the predictions. Those are some of the best things on there that I like about the old Pro Wrestling Illustrated Year in Review magazines was the prediction section. Section. An interview with the U.S. champion Ravishing Rick Rude. Out and About, a special day for a lucky fan. There's a fan who had cancer, bone cancer, in his leg, and he got a chance to meet Sting. Sting is his favorite wrestler. Sting is his favorite wrestler, and he got to go to Baltimore. And at a Baltimore show, he got to meet Sting and the Steiner Brothers, and got to get some merchandise. Championship Challenge. Again, this is the WCW merchandise catalog. I actually have that Sting jacket. I had it. I'm pretty sure I still have it, but I never really wore it because that Sting is funny. Wrestling really wasn't cool. Like in my school, like nobody watched wrestling. It was just like maybe a couple of people. So I wasn't trying to wear it and get clowned on. So I never wore it. Lots of Sting stuff, of course. Lex Luger stuff, Steiner Brothers. Some merchandise, the magazines and stuff. I mean, the toy action figures. The card. I got some of those action figures, and I got the WCW trading cards. Paulie Dangerously, the Danger Zone column, where he just describes members of the Dangerous Alliance. And a parting shot of Elegante looking at a fake shark's in his mouth. Is that some theme park? Goes to WCW Hotline. Sunday, Missy does the mail. Monday, Tony Schiavone talks. Tuesday, Matt Watch with Steve Beverly. Wednesday, late breaking news of Dennis Brent. Thursday, straight up with Sting. Friday, Lex on the level. And Saturday, the Jim Ross report. Not WCW, the 900, 909, 9900 hotline. 7 days a week. Okay, this has been a review of WCW Magazine, March 1992. All right, thanks for watching.